Hello everybody! In this English lesson, we will talk about modals, specifically in the present. Probably you remember what modals are, but let's review a little bit. Modals are these words that help us express different intentions. Some people call them verbs, some people call them auxiliaries, but you decide because they don't actually follow the exact same rules as verbs. Okay, they have their rules on their own. For example, they are rarely conjugated. There are some exceptions to this rule, of course, but modals are rarely conjugated. We never conjugate the verb after the modal. This is something you should remember. In a sentence, we usually place the modal between the subject and the verb. And in questions, the modals usually go before the subject. Modals are classified according to their function. We have modals of ability, modals of probability, modals of permission and request, modals of obligation, and modals of advisability. Some people change the categories according to different functions. For example, instead of probability, they will tell you modals of possibility, modals of logical conclusion. Instead of saying modals of obligation, they will call them modals of necessity and divide them. Modals of necessity and modals of prohibition. That is up to different grammar theories, but it depends, the category depends on the function that the modal is, that the modal has in that particular sentence. Let's take a look at each of these categories separately. Modals of ability help us express what someone or something is capable of doing. Okay? We have three possible options. We can say, we can use can, which is a modal of ability usually for the present. I can say she can run 20 miles. Okay, she's capable of running 20 miles. We have could, which is used in the past mainly, right? We use it to refer to things we could do in the past, right? Sometimes we cannot do them anymore. Sometimes. For example, when I was a child, I couldn't reach the freezer to get ice cream. And finally, we have be able to, which is a very flexible modal because it can be used in different verb tenses. But be careful because you have to conjugate the verb to be here so that you can use it in every verb tense. Here you have an example. We will be able to complete the project on time. This particular example is in the present, but you can use be able to in the past, in the present, in present perfect, whatever you want, as long as you conjugate the verb to be correctly. Let's move on. Now we have modals of probability. Modals of probability help us express uncertainty or to make assumptions of certain situations. We can use may, might, and could when we are not very sure of something. There are different theories regarding which one expresses more uncertainty. However, in this video, we are going to take may, might, and could as if they all express uncertainty. I can say it may rain tonight, or it might rain tonight, or it could rain tonight, and they all express uncertainty. I don't know for a fact if it's going to rain or not. On a separate group, we have must or should, that some people call them modals of logical conclusion because usually we use them when we make an assumption based on some information. It's not like with may, might, and could that I just guess, right? Here you have some examples of the two groups of models of probability. For example, we may go to Disney next year if the situation improves. So we don't know if the situation is going to improve or not. So it is completely uncertain. However, in the second example, it says John must be very tired after working so much. Well, this is an assumption. I don't know for a fact if John is tired, but I imagine he is because he has been working for a long time. Let's continue. Then we have models of permission and models of request. Models of permission and models of request are used very similarly, but they have a couple of differences. Models of permission are used to ask for, grant, or deny permission. We have three of them. We have may, could, and can. This is the order according to their degree of formality or politeness. May is the most polite, right? The most formal one is the one that we should be using in a job context, in the school, for example. Could is also formal, but it can only be used for questions. You cannot use it for granting or denying permission. And finally, can be used as a model of permission. However, it is more informal and not so polite. For example, here you can say, may I go to the bathroom? May I start with the presentation? Could I open the window? Or in an informal context, for example, Mom, can I go to the party? Models of request are used to ask for favors, mainly. And we also have a different order according to their degree of formality or politeness. The most formal one, or polite, is would, followed by could. And then we have can and will, which are very informal or impolite. Fun fact about these models: the polite ones can be used in questions only. So if you want to ask someone for a favor, you can use in a polite way would or could. Would you help me with my project? Or could you please turn on the light? Okay? Can and will are only impolite if we use them for a question. However, if we are replying to someone's request, it is okay to use them. Let's continue. Now we have models of obligation. Models of obligation are used when we want to talk about the rules, right? Some rules or maybe necessities or commands. Usually we use must and have to express obligation. These models of obligation have the advantage that if you make them negative, they work as prohibition. Okay, here you have some examples. We must wear a uniform when we are at school, or you have to clean your room before you go out. Or in negative, you must not drive a car without a license. Oh, be careful with the models of obligation in negative, because have to, which is a model of obligation, if you use it in negative, it does not mean prohibition. It means lack of necessity or lack of obligation. So it is not the same if I tell you, you must not bring your computer to class. This is a prohibition. You are not allowed to do it. But if I tell you, you don't have to bring your computer to class, then it means it is not necessary, but you can do it if you want. So be careful with have to in the negative. Now let's continue with modals of advisability. Modals of advisability are used to give recommendations, suggestions, or advice as the name says it. We can use should or ought to. I can say, for example, I should study for my exam, or you ought to wash your hands often. They are recommendations. The person decides if they do it or not. These were the modals, or some of the rules for modals in the present. I hope that you have enjoyed this short video.